Hello, this is Ali Sharifara, and this video is part of the Introduction to Programming using Java series. And in this video, I'll be talking about types, constants, different shortcut arithmetic operators, converting data types. Let's get started. To work with data and text, we will use 5 basic data types. We have talked about several data types or types in the last videos. Let me write them again. We have integer, we talked about double, and also we talked about the strings. In this session, we will learn about 2 more data types. One of them is Boolean and the other one is char or character. And Java will never allow you to set a variable to a value incompatible with the type of a variable. For integer, the legal values are integers like number 0, number 56, or negative 120. So these are all integers. And for double, let me place them in every single line. For double, the legal values are real numbers like 3, 7.3. We have something like we can have 2.6, etc. So these are etc. So these are all real numbers that we can use for the type of double. And for a string, the legal values are text, something like hello, or something like I like programming, etc. Right? So remember that whenever we want to use a string, we need to enclose them in double quotes. And for Boolean values, the legal values are 2 values only. So it can be either true or it can be false. We will see some examples of Boolean type in this session. And also for character, the legal values are characters, something like character C or character capital D, or even we can use different symbols. For example, $sign is a character, or this is the character 6. It's not number 6, it's the character. And also notice the difference between character and a string. In character, we need to enclose every single character in single quotes, but in a string, we need to enclose the string in double quotes. That's the difference between a string and character. And these types are not interchangeable. For example, we cannot use, let me write here number 5 or 5.0 here. Another one is a string 5, and the last one here is character 5. So these 4 values are different. The first one is the value of integer, the second one is the value of double, the third one is a string, and the last one is character. So they are not interchangeable. We cannot use them interchangeably. All right, so another topic that I would like to talk about is plus plus and minus minus operators. Let me delete these few lines here. Okay, I'm going to talk about plus plus and minus minus. The plus plus operator increments the value of a variable by 1. And the syntax is variable name plus plus. And the minus minus operator decrements the value of a variable by 1. And the syntax is variable name minus minus. Let's see one example of using plus plus and minus minus operators. Let's say we have one variable here, the name is x and the value is 5.5, and we want to increment it by 1. And after that, I would like to declare another variable. I'm going to assign number 4 to it, and after that I'm going to write y minus minus. And finally, I'm going to print those values. One is x and the other one is y. So let's see, before we are running this program, we want to see what would be the result. In this example, x is initialized, or we have assigned number 5.5 to it, and after that we use x plus plus. So basically x plus plus is equivalent to x is equal x plus 1. Whatever the value of x is, we want to add 1 to it, right? So it will be, the new value will be 6.5. And then the next one, in the next line, y is equal 4, and we want to decrement it by 1. So the new value is exactly same as y is equal y minus 1. There is no any difference in the result of either you can write y minus minus, or you can write y is equal y minus 1. So the output will be 6.5, and for y is number 3. Let's run this program and we will see we have 6.5 and number 3. So there is no any difference between x is equal x plus 1 and x plus plus. So this is just your preference. You want to use this shortcut, or you want to use x is equal x plus 1. This is your choice. It's entirely up to you whether you want to use plus plus or you want to write it in this way. And also there is another way of writing this. So this is the second way. And also the third way for writing x plus plus is, this is the second way, and the third way is we can write x plus equal 1, right? So if you write x plus equal 1, it means that I have an x variable and I want to add 1 to it, and then I want to assign a new value into x again, right? So the value will be in this example is 5.5, and we are adding 1 to the value of the existing value of x, so it will be 6.5. And similarly we can do it for minus minus. This is the second way of writing it, and the third way is we can use y minus equal 1. It's exactly the same. If I change this line to let me use the third way. If I replace it with this value, and if I replace this value with y minus minus, and if I run it, we'll see that we get exactly the same result as before. So it's still 6.5 and 3. And like I said, whether you use plus plus or minus minus or not is just your choice, and it's entirely up to you. But personally, I prefer to use plus plus or minus minus if I want to increment or decrement 1 from one variable. It just looks your program more professional. All right, so we have seen that there are multiple ways to add or subtract 1 from one variable or to one variable. There are 3 ways. This is the second, and this is the third way. So basically, these not here. Basically, these 3 lines are identical, and these 3 lines also are identical. You can choose any of them. So this is the first way, this is the second way, and this is the third way. And similarly here is the first way for increment or add 1 or subtract 1 from one variable. And the next topic which I would like to talk about is about constant variables. Some variables should never change the value, and if you want to tell Java that a variable is a constant, use the final keyword when you declare the variable. Let me delete these few lines here. Previously we learned how we can declare a variable. For example, if I want to declare a variable like number of days is equal to, let's say, 7. All right, so I'm able to add 1 to this value, and if I want to print it, number of days, the value that gets printed is number 8, as you can see here. But let's assume that we have a fixed value that it shouldn't be changed. For instance, here we have 7 days in a week, so we don't want to change it in the rest of the program. By mistake, we don't want to change it. So in this case, we need to add final keyword at the beginning of that. And as soon as I add final keyword here, you can see we have a red line, and it says that cannot assign a value to final variable, right? So the final variable, it means that it's the constant and we cannot change it. So in this case, if I remove that, we will get the value of 7, because we have declared this variable as a constant and we cannot change the value. Once we assign a value to it, we cannot change that value. And we can use it, for example, for the number of days in a week here, or any mathematical constants such as pi, etc., or physics constants like Newton's constant for gravity. So there is something that we don't want to change, so we can use constant. Another example is, let's complete this example. Let me declare one variable. Weeks is equal, let's say, 10, and I want to declare a constant. I need to write the type. First, we need to write the final keyword, then the type, and days per week is equal to 7. All right, so I want to declare another variable. I name it as days is equal to weeks times days per week. All right, and after that, I'm going to print that value. All right, so I'm going to use printf because I want to use format a specifier. So I use %d weeks is equal to %d days \n. I need to add the values. So the first one is weeks. I need to add the value of weeks. The second format specifier is for number of days. So I add days here. And in the result, we have 10 weeks is equal 70 days. All right, so we have declared days per week as a constant. Again, if I remove the final keyword, it works exactly the same as before. But the problem is, maybe later, mistakenly we change this value, for example, to a new value, or we add plus to it, right? So it works, but we know that this is not correct. We don't have 8 days in per week. We know that this is the final value, and we shouldn't allow programmers or other programmers, I can say, to mistakenly change this value. So I should add the final keyword here. And basically, it's a good programming practice. It makes code easier to read and understand, and also prevents human errors if we define it as a constant. If you know that that variable, we are not going to change it in the program. so we should declare it as a constant. And also we talked about several format specifiers. As you see here we are going to print integers. That's why we use %d, and there are some other format specifiers that we have used so far. One of them is %d, one is %f for printing doubles, and we can use also %c for values of type character. We can use %b for values of type boolean. Let me also write one example of variable for boolean. The data type is boolean, is the variable name is raining, is equal to, let's say it's raining, right? So we have declared, and also we have assigned true, or assigned a value to is raining, and I'm going to print it using printf. And here I can use %b because we are going to print the boolean value and is raining, right? And also we can write something like a string here is raining, or is, so if I run this, and this is the result, and we can also change it to false, and we will see that the result will change to false. All right, so this is for format specifier for booleans, and similarly we can use for characters. If I declare one character here, char sample char is equal to character, for example, C. Here I need to use %c, and also I need to pass the value. All right, so I will be able to see the character in the result, which is C, right? So we have used one single quote for declaring or for assigning a value to a character variable. And also when we use format specifier, we are also able to specify the widths. Basically, after a $, you can put a number specifying the minimum widths for that value. For example, if we write %5d, it means that allocate at least 5 spaces for that integer. And if I write %10s, it means that allocate at least 10 spaces for that string, or for the string. It's not for this program. Also, if you write for example, 7f, means that allocate at least 7 spaces for that double. And note that the word at least, so if you specify a certain width, but the value actually needs more width than that in order to be displayed, it will be given the width that is needed. For example, if you use %10s, but the string has 15 characters, then all 15 characters will be printed. Let me write one example here, sample variable, or let me write sample variable is equal to I like programming. And here we have, let's say we have five spaces for s, and I can pass this value here. So as I just mentioned, 5 here is the minimum value, and obviously we have more number of characters in this string, so it will be ignored, and the entire string will be printed, as you can see here. So this is minimum, but it's different for double. Let me write, if I want to use double, let's say we have double here. I want to declare one variable, the name is grade, and the value is 80 85.6, for example, and I need to pass the value grade here. And as you see, we have, so let me make some changes here to 68, and here we have two values, which is before the period here, and for 68 we want to have only one floating point. So what it does, it will round it to the closest number. So the closest number here is 8 will be rounded to 6 will be rounded up to 7. So the expected output will be 85.7. Yeah, as you see here is 85.7. And also the last topic which I would like to talk about is about converting doubles to integers. And there are several ways for converting doubles to integers. The first approach is casting. As you see here, if I want to declare a new variable, let's say new grade is equal to grade. So it shouldn't work because grade is, the type of grade is double and the new grade is integer, and we cannot assign a double to integer without casting it, right? So here it says that the required type is integer and the provided is double. The workaround is we can cast this value by writing integer inside parentheses, and then we are able to assign this value. And what is actually happening here, if we put integer in front of the double value and ask Java to convert that value to an integer, it will cast it and it will remove the decimal part. The decimal part here is 68, so it will be removed and 85 will be assigned to new grade. So let me change this to %d because we are going to print new grade, and the expected output is 85 here. Oh, there is one F. I don't need that one. Let me rerun. And we should see 85. As you can see, 85 is printed on the screen. And another way of casting is with using a math function. So if you use math, let me write it, we can run that value. So we want to run the value of grade, and after that we need to assign it to an integer. But still we need to keep integer here. We want to run it first, and then we cast it to integer, and finally we assign the new value to new grade. So in this example we should also see 86, right? So because 6 is greater than 5, we will round it up, and we want only the integer part. Let me run this. Yeah, we got 86 here. And another example of casting is using, instead of round, we can use floor, and it runs number down to an integer. We run it down, so it will be 85. So let me run this. We got 85, and if I change it to sailing, it will run it up. It runs a number up to an integer, and we can see the result this time will be 86. All right, so to recap, today we talked about different types. We talked about 5 basic types that we have in Java. One of them is integer, the second one is double, boolean, third, next is a string and character. And also we talked about different shortcut arithmetic operators like plus plus, minus minus, minus equal, plus equal. And also we learned how to convert double values into integers. We also learned how to use ceiling, floor, and also rounding a number. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.